guys, Tracy Hess from Zone to be Toned. We're all back this week for our second episode. I'm very happy. We're doing a segment today on relationships. And we're here with lovely, of course, Kim Players, myself, and the writer of the article, Trimming the Fat. I call her Megan G. And of course, Stephanie Hindall. Hi, guys. The reason why I decided to do a segment on relationships, we've seen that the past years, relationships are starting to lose their value, where people are not trying harder anymore to keep the relationships happy. So Megan wrote an article which was amazing. It's on the Zone to be Toned site, so you look under articles and you will see her article on this. And Megan, please explain to me, why did you decide to write this article on trimming the fat?
I think relationships are everything, and we don't really realize how much our relationships affect our everyday lives. If you're in a good relationship, you can tell people around you who are having healthy relationships are smiling, they're happy, they're laughing. And what you can tell just from where I work, that when whoever's in a bad mood is typically either they've been fighting with someone or been rejected or cheated or something. You can just tell when people are happy. It has a lot to do with who's in their life and things are working out. So trim the fat is, if you're not happy, you're gonna maybe stop working out, or you're gonna take up drinking more, or you're gonna use smoking as a stress factor. These are all like things that take away from our health, and it's indicative of our relationship. So trim the fat is recognizing the unhealthy signs to what causes you to go down spiral, where you're all of a sudden just more unhealthy, and it has a lot to do with back to the relationship.
Absolutely. So what makes a successful relationship? Like, how do you attain, Kim, what are your values on this?
Well, I'm big for being the leader that, be the leader that you want to follow. And I believe in any relationship that, there's two leaders, and you need to be the best leader that you can be. And relationships should be empowering, and the more that you improve yourself, the more that you'll have better boundaries, and the more that will empower the person that you're with. If you don't have boundaries as a personal person, then you think that you're assisting other people or helping them, but what you're doing is you're disempowering them, taking away their power, and also disempowering yourself.
Right, and I agree with that. Stephanie, what are your values on this?
Yeah, I really agree with Megan. I think that there's like this huge tie-in with relationships and with your health and everything. I see all the time, if somebody has an unhealthy relationship, it's going to be really difficult for them to lose that weight. They're holding on to it from the stress of it.
Absolutely.
It can be such like it can affect their lives so much every day, from everything that they do. And like Kim was talking about with having the relationships, it kind of, it's people bickering, and then you go to work and then you're bickering with those people, and then, it's definitely a snowball effect. And if you're encouraging that person and having this great relationship where you want to take them to the next level and get them to that next place, like that's where you're going to grow and thrive and be together and be in that fulfilled life where you feel just great every day.
So at this point, what makes a healthy relationship? So what do we do? What are some of the things that we can do to make the relationships a lot healthier so that we are not depressed and sad and we rub off on other people? What are some of the keys? And you wrote the article, Megan, so what are some of the things we can do then?
There's, first and foremost, communication. Like when you fail to speak up, when you hold things in, you don't want to defend anyone, you don't want to feel vulnerable, you don't want to feel weak, and we kind of hold things in because we don't want, we just, especially in the beginning of a relationship, you're afraid to say what may bother you, and think if you let that build up, all of a sudden that's when you have displaced anger. All of a sudden someone left a light on, you're freaked out about that, but it has something to do with other things that you're not getting to the root of.
So you didn't solve the problem when it came the first time.
You're snapping at things that seem little, but they really go back to the bigger issue of you're not communicating well, you're not speaking your feelings, you're not sharing, your part of the relationship to help that grow forward. And the more you communicate, that's why I think fighting actually really can help a relationship, because it gets out things that bother you. Like anytime I fight with someone I'm dating, I feel like, as much as it sucks in the moment, afterward you're like, well, I didn't realize that pissed you off. I'm glad we spoke about this. You realize more about people through fighting. If you're not fighting, it's either one, you're denying it, or you're just very lucky.
So
you should fight. It's healthy.
The thing, ladies, where's their boundary is, because some women are afraid, or men are afraid to speak up. They don't want to fight. They hold things in because they don't want any issues, or others do speak too much.
Yeah.
So where's the happy medium? Like where I mean, do you nip it when it comes? Do you find a way how to go and speak your mind? I mean, is there, I mean...
Do you, and Megan, when you're talking about fighting, can you give us some advice? Because if you are, I've been married 23 years, and in my relationship with my husband is more of a passive aggressive, and that was why I was attracted to him, because he's very stable being a passive aggressive. Obviously, I'm confrontational. I like to think in my maturity that I'm carefrontational. I've grown up, right, and I don't have to, I don't have to take somebody down to get my point across.
Right.
I've released my angry giver.
Right.
And so can you give us some points perhaps on how to fight fair?
Yeah.
Well, so when you say passive aggressive, you mean he's more subtle about, he'll announce something that kind of...
He doesn't, he's
maybe
more
looks like a
protective,
little-
he lets it stew a little bit more.
Right.
And where I'm like, as soon as something comes up, it comes out.
Now, see the
Yeah,
type
see,
where...
that's good. That's a nice little...
Well, is he the type when something bothers him, does he need to go away for a little bit and think? And, because I know I've dated people who, I'm shut down for 5 days waiting for them to open up shops and we can talk about things. But, there's someone who, all of a sudden they're yelling at you, I don't know why. And there's one where someone needs time to think and not say something that might be too offensive in the moment. If you get the, I don't want to speak right now because I know it just could be out of anger. So you go away and you talk about it, or you think about it and you come back. Now, are you the one who you have to immediately say something when it bothers you, and he might be the one who needs to take a step back and think?
Yeah, well, I would say definitely in 23 years of marriage, my husband and I definitely know how to fight fair. And, the big thing is to not go personal.
Right.
Right, it's to not go personal. I mean, not fighting fair is doing the name calling and really trying to demean that person. That's what I mean about fighting fair.
Right.
I mean, I had a fight with my sister just the past week, and she was getting at me, it had nothing to do with the moment, but just attacking me for me. And I'm like, and I know it had a lot to do with the fact that she just broke up with her boyfriend.
Right.
So,
She's a single mom.
Another relationship issue.
Yeah, and I know, and that's why I very much, having been raised Italian and having a very passionate mother, we'll say.
Sure.
We're all used to fighting right away. As soon as something bothers us, we're off the handle. But I've learned from my dad, who actually is a passive fighter. He's if he blows up, it's maybe twice a year, and that's something really has to push his buttons. But he just has this patience that's come over him. So I've kind of developed that where I see my sister yelling at me. I know she's trying to hurt me. She's trying to create a fight, and I'm just like, I'm not engaging with this. I know you're angry, and I'm sorry. And I'm not going to fight with you, and I walked away. And then, we talked through text a little bit, and to this day we're still not completely talking, but I know the issue's bigger that I can't get her to admit.
Sure,
because I know she's vulnerable, she feels lonely, she thinks she's going to be alone for the rest of her life. And
Right, it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
And for you, Stephanie, dealing with some of your clientele, do you hear that a lot from some of people
Oh yeah, there's always some kind of relationship component to what's going on with the food issue.
Right.
There's always at all times, somebody's always has something going on with somebody. And it's just really how you handle it and how you deal with it on your daily life that it either brings you down or it raises you up.
Right.
Because you can turn a bad situation good at any point. And I have this survey that I do actually sometimes with some of my clients for relationships where they'll fill it out and it kind of tells them a little bit more about what their partner would like and what they respond better to, which is kind of interesting to know.
I like that. That's good. It's a nice little technique.
Yeah, and some people respond well to hugs. Some people don't want to be hugged. Some people want to be talked to,
Right.
So it's really good to know what your partner responds well to, so you can talk to them like that in a tough situation.
Right. So basically getting to know someone, when you meet somebody, and I think that's really, really important when you first meet someone, really get to know them, get a feel of how they handle situations. Then you guys will know how to handle it when you come to those moments. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing on the article that you've written.
Then that goes into difference, accepting difference. We don't it's understanding where that person's coming from. I read a book, That's Not What I Meant, and this woman wrote an article, or a whole book based on how she knew the keys to communicating and how people communicate differently. It could have saved her marriage, like with you.
Right,
if you don't understand, if you don't understand that, and two are not willing to understand that people communicate differently, that can be very, very detrimental to relationships. Because we being ourselves only know ourselves, so we think, well, they have to be just like me. But that's the biggest problem, and I think one of the most beautiful parts about being in a relationship is you're both different. You're individuals. You're learning about each other. You're learning where they came from. I've learned so much through dating about different career choices, different lifestyles, people having parents that are divorced or married, just like how that influences their life. And it's really trying to understand where they're coming from. It's not just, well, they're cut off, they're emotionally retarded. Like, it's not based on, you can't just see it as an effect. You have to think of the cause. Like, what created this person to be emotionally detached, or this person to be volatile or fights a lot. It has a lot to do with where they've come from. And understanding that difference is really what helps to live better, because you are two individuals, and to make a relationship work is going to be you can't just expect it to. You have to understand them, you have to be able to listen as well as talk, and through that, if you can get through those steps of understanding the difference and accepting the difference, and how you can't quite change people. You can try, and they can, if they really care, they'll I know that bothers you, I'll work on it. But at the end of the day, people are who they are typically, and I don't know the answer, can we change people, can we not, but I think if they love you, like I've had, things about myself pointed out that I've tried to work on, like, I could be very quick to fuse, and I've learned through time to be more patient, to take a step back. Like, I used to be a big fighter, and through my relationships, have learned to not fight as much. So you can, if you want to, change yourself, but you have to change yourself. I think it's much more positive that you take that effort to change yourself versus trying to change someone else.
So
and if they love you, they should try to not do what pisses you off, to be blunt. Like, maybe don't do that. If they care and they love you, they should try. And if they don't, they're stubborn, then either it goes back into the lifestyle of why, or it says the relationship's not working. And that's through dating. I mean, marriage is different, but dating, you're trying to find out who you want to be with.
Because you would make it to that point of marriage.
But yeah, I'm still dating. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. Still trying to figure out who I want as a partner, and that's through dating. It's not bad to have a bad relationship, because that should only give you the opportunity to figure out, oh, next time I don't want this.
That's right.
Next time I want someone who's going to be more supportive or more funny or whatever you want. But you learn that through the mistakes, and that's what's great about messing up.
Do you feel, ladies, do you all feel that in your relationships, because I know you guys are really, these ladies are out there. They're like aggressive and they're getting out there. And we all know in relationships, and I have to say from my experience that without support, me and Kimmy talked about this yesterday, I do feel that is that's the foundation right there. Without support of your spouse, no matter what they're doing, if it's not harming anybody, it really starts there. And that means anything you're trying to do. Whether you want to spend more time doing this, doing that, everything is balanced. But I do believe if you do have that support, that does keep a healthy relationship also. And that's very, very important. Yes. Because I know you guys have a lot going on, and they got to understand that you got to be here, be there, do this, do that. But of course, we always make time for you.
That's right, absolutely.
I think it's important too to like being so like doing a lot of different tasks at once, like having to be in a lot of different places. I think it's really important to talk to that person and express your appreciation for them, for their love, just to get that
important. That's a nice point there, Stephanie. Make them aware, bring them a part of what you're doing, not just let them sit on the side when you get home and just, they've been sitting here waiting for you. Make them a part and let them appreciate and thank them for being there for you while you're going out and doing all those other things, because they're part of what your success is. Success is nothing without.
And they're a big reason of your why.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love this.
Just doing little things for them too, to show that appreciation. Like, you may be very busy, but to go out and just do something special that shows that you cared or you thought of them, really will bring that point home. And
it doesn't take much. Just a quick compliment can brighten someone's day. Like, I like that shirt, or whatever you want to say.
Nice special words that always lifts the spirit up. So these are good tips. No, we're not therapists. We're not sitting here trying to tell you what to do.
Absolutely.
It's just basically through experience and what we've seen and what we've gone through. And we're just kind of sharing our knowledge and advice out here to you viewers of healthy relationships, because it helps you in everything that you try to do. What other issues that you have dealt with, Megan?
Well, I guess, because we're talking about trim the fat and unhealthy relationships, ladies, from your experiences, what do you recognize as, what signs in your past have you recognized, or that you should, that will, gravitate towards a bad or unhealthy relationship? Like, there's always red flags that sometimes we try to put away, like, oh, I can deal with that, or that's maybe, that won't be a big deal, and then it comes back up. I have, trust issues, finances, unfortunately, can be a huge path down, when it comes to money, lifestyle changes, insecurities, unwillingness to accept difference. These are all things that can just lead you down an unhealthy path that can just if you don't address it, it just gets worse.
Absolutely.
And then you get all of a sudden 2 years go by, you're stuck, you feel comfortable, you feel you're too vulnerable, you don't want to get out of it, no one's going to love you, no one's going to want to date you, have to start all over, like these, or 23 or whatever the years are. It
that's
gets
a good
worse,
point.
I mean, it gets harder as the years go by.
That's
You share
a
more, you have more
great
moments,
point.
it's,
Yes.
you know, I've only had, my longest relationship was 3 years, and that is still a chunk of time that I have to let go, but I embrace the time that we had, but that's still a long chunk to just kind of throw away and have to start all over again.
You know, it's funny, we're talking, my lovely makeup artist, Miss Kim Gray, we were talking about this earlier, and we did realize women, once they get past a certain age, they kind of shut down. They kind of shut down as far as being more vocal, a little afraid of losing the relationship and having to start all over again. Those are a big issue right now today is with that. Most women don't speak anymore, and they hold a lot of things in, and then before you know it, the relationship is gone south. So, but these all kind of tie in together, and now we know where to maybe try to nip it. And I do feel from my experience is that I used to be very shy and I never spoke. I just kept holding things in, holding in. As I moved into my new relationship, I learned that my partner, he's more like your husband, and he's going to let you know right away what really bothered him. And then we nip it in the bud and we're able to move on. And then now I'm more vocal because of him. So he helps me get things out more so that we can just move forward. So that makes things healthier.
Yeah.
Just healthier.
Well, that's a key point that I bring up a lot is the person you're with should better you. Even if it doesn't work out, they should
Oh my
hopefully
God, I
better you
agree.
for the next person.
Oh.
Like that's why like cheating or just different things that can
I
really hurt
agree.
that person. If that doesn't work, you're throwing them back out into the water.
Absolutely.
And now the next person's got to deal with the issues you gave them. Like, I'm not saying it's
The
always your
baggage.
fault,
The baggage.
but that's why like cheating or things like that, like that comes with it, and that's why I try myself to treat someone with respect and not give them reason to not trust me and not be, mean and just like, violent towards my words or whatever it is. To hope that even if it doesn't work out, they can at least go on and find someone better. Because it doesn't just because it didn't work out doesn't mean it was a waste. You still should be learning about each other. You should still be helping, and if you can better each other, that's amazing. That's awesome. Even if it doesn't work out, you say, I'm more vocal because of your boyfriend. That they can make you better and bring out the happiness inside you. And people just from having that person in your life, I had someone say, you look really happy.
So just choose a better me.
Yeah, exactly.
The bottom line, someone that's going
Yeah.
to make you excel and not
Yeah.
bring you down. Well, we said we don't want
Take the
to.
positive out of a bad situation.
We want to progress, not regress. You always want to move forward in your life, and it's very hard to find supportive people that will back you up, especially when you're out there trying to, support, build your careers and things, and it's very difficult. I want to backtrack a little bit because I did get a question from Zone to be Toned about marriage, and the young lady got married, and she was very happy. She got very content in the marriage. They sat back, they had a good time, they loved to eat, do things, and now the husband is telling her that she's not attractive anymore to him. So there's boundaries. I'm sure that a lot of us, our lifestyle has changed, and when we got married, we may not worked as many hours, we may not have the kids. I want to originate because I would definitely want to answer her question on this one. Do you guys have any
What's the
remarks
question?
you want to think? Well, she's a little upset because of the fact that her husband says she's not attractive anymore.
Right.
That she basically let herself go, and I don't know what he looks like, but
Right.
got content in the marriage, and she
What can
wants
she
to
do?
know what can she do.
I think a really huge thing that happens is, once you get really comfortable with somebody, that does happen. You get really content. You're spending time a lot at home, just hanging out, watching TV, whatever,
Restaurants.
eating, restaurants, stuff like that. And for some people, I think they lose a little bit of themselves.
Yes.
And I think a really huge part of life in general is always doing the things that drive you and make you fulfilled. And the best part is when you can include your boyfriend, husband, fiance
Absolutely.
with that. It's
I
like
agree.
bringing the best and the best together.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to still strive to find those things that you love and do them.
I agree.
It might be like going for a hike. It might be just going for a little vacation somewhere. Just like kind of mixing it up, or like finding what your passion is. Do you like to draw? Are you creative? Do you like to paint? Like maybe you can do something together.
Things together.
Yeah.
To keep that bond. that
There's
you're
nothing-
together.
Yeah. And there's nothing better than your true passion coming out and your loved one getting to experience it with you. You know, it's
love
just
that.
like a draw.
I love
It's
that. Keep things
Don't lose
fresh.
yourself.
Yeah, don't lose yourself. Keep
Yeah.
things fresh. And don't just settle down and think, okay, now I got you. The wedding's
Yeah.
over, the reception's over. Now we can just be ourselves. Keep things going. What do you think, Kim? Because I know you have something to say on this.
Well, I mean, I agree with what Stephanie's saying, and, you know, I would ask that young woman, how does she feel about herself? I mean, that's really, you know, do you feel unattractive? Because you could be giving away, you could be cutting him off in certain ways, and, you know, he had all these expectations for the relationship. And, you know, where is your responsibility? It takes two to tango,
That's right.
always.
I
And
agree
where
with
is your
that, Kim.
responsibility? Is he, you know, being domineering and controlling? And that's an issue that you need to address, or have you really let yourself go? And why would you let yourself go? Not just for him, but for yourself. You have your whole life
Absolutely.
ahead of you.
I
And you have
agree.
so many
I do.
seasons
I
in
agree.
life
Yeah.
that, you know, when I was in my 20s was a season, and then I had kids, and now my kids are grown, and I'm going to be approaching 50, and I start thinking of where I'm going to be and the things that I want to do, and I always want to be my best. And by me wanting to be my best, it makes me extremely attracted to my husband.
Absolutely. And you know what? We spoke about this on our last segment. Everything does revolve around you yourself. You got to stop blaming other people. When you get married, it doesn't mean it's over. If you were going to the gym and working out, continue to go to the gym
That's
and work
right.
out. There's no excuses. Keep the attraction going. What brought two people together?
Yeah.
Hey,
Let's just keep it.
keep it together. Don't let go at any time, because there's no promises in life. We all know that.
That's right.
But if you at least have yourself, you have your attraction going, your self-esteem going, if something doesn't work, you can move on.
You can move on is right. You can let it go and move on.
You can let it go and move on. Well, ladies, we're going to sum this segment up, and what are some of the key words? And you guys can all hit your own vision of what you think that will keep relationships healthy and happy.
I think communication. I know that's like the easiest one to say, but it is so important. It's like number one, you have to be explaining what you would like and understanding what they'd like. To be communicating is just like, it's a beautiful,
biggest.
harmonious.
Keeps you on the same
Yes, the
page.
biggest. I agree with you, and of course, trimming the fat.
I mean, leading communication, trust, that can be like
Trust
the,
is huge.
the rust to a car. Like
Huge.
it's just, there's not trust there, you're gonna second guess everything, and you need to, whatever might happen, you have to let it go or choose, I can't deal with this, and you split. But if you have trust issues, you need to deal with them, because that's going to.
And again, that goes
Destroy.
with self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, you always think someone else is doing something else.
Insecurity.
If you're
Yeah.
secure and you guys got great, you won't have these issues, Kim.
Well, trust is huge, and that comes once again to trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting what your soul is telling you. We're all, souls having a human experience here, and we all have greatness within us. So don't let that greatness be covered up by trying to be a people pleaser. Be a people person. And, Tracy and I talked on the phone yesterday, and in my workshops that I do that empower women, I always say that my mess is my message. So learn from your mistakes, value yourself, and value the people in your life, and that will bring empowering relationships as opposed to disempowering relationships.
Absolutely. Ladies, hopefully we were able to share some light on your relationships. Again, like I said, we are not professional psychiatrists, but from life experience ourselves and what we deal with, hopefully this will be able to help you keep your relationship healthy, happy forever.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Megan and Stephanie. A pleasure. You guys look
Thanks,
great.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you on the next segment. Zone to be Toned will be Trainers Edition on our next one. We're going to be doing some workout tips for those stubborn areas. So tune in for our next show, Zone to be Toned. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.